I don't think people really realize how rich some people really are and how big you can really take things. Just the other week, I was in Lake Powell. People don't know where this place is. It's like a hub for like billionaires. To get there, I got picked up in a helicopter straight to the boat. And one of the guys that I was hanging out with, in the basement of his house, he has a full-size basketball court, and the floorboards of that basketball court is the last game where Kobe and Shaq played together. I was like, oh wow. And then that just unlocked a whole different layer of thinking for me. I'll tell the audience now, this is massive, but it's how I've been able to do 7 figures in almost any industry. I've done $1 million with physical products, digital products, affiliate, software.
Ramin runs the world's #1 AI store builder with partnerships from billion-dollar companies like Wix and TikTok. His mindset is unreal. At just 17 years old, he was already closing 5K deals, showing real estate companies how to get more leads through Facebook ads. 1 hour of conversation with him will make you rethink everything. Enjoy.
People just make it so hard for themselves to win. Oh, I can't do this. It's too hard to do that. It's just like, you keep telling yourself those words. You just screw it up for yourself. If you say it's hard to go to the gym, you're going to now think about how difficult it actually is to go to the gym. But if you say it's easy to go, it's easy to go. Like, oh yeah, I just need to take literally a 4 or 5 minute drive and I'm at the gym, and then boom, 30 minutes done. Boom, I got my workout in. If you just tell yourself it's easy and it's possible, then it does become easy and it does become possible.
Welcome back to another episode of the TheoClarkePodcast, where I interview e-commerce entrepreneurs. Today's podcast is sponsored by Commercive Fulfillment, your trusted fulfillment partner. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Ramin Popal. Ramin, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here. Glad we could make it happen too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, you told me you just got off the back of like, what, a 30-hour travel or flight, you said?
Yeah, crazy, man. It's crazy because I was around the US and back-to-back traveling, meeting up with like the founders, like all these big business guys that we're doing partnerships with. And then I was in San Diego and I'm like, all right, I can't wait to get to Australia, hang out with the family, relax a bit. First day I land from a 15-hour flight from LA to Australia. I'm like, all right, Wix, we're in Dubai, you need to come. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, now I got to jump on another 13-hour flight to come all the way here. So yeah, I've been on the move.
Yeah, well, appreciate you making it. It's good to have you here. I'm glad we got to run the pod. What you're saying there, it seems like there's so many different like moving pieces at this stage in your business, and I'd love to learn more about the AI store builder and kind of how you got to where you are now, because it seems like there's just so much opportunity coming in many different directions. But I know obviously this has been in the works for a little while now, so maybe you could just give a bit of context as to like the AI store builder itself, like a little bit to how that transpired into what it is today, and I guess where it all started.
Yeah, I mean, it started like 2 years ago. Me and my brother were just like, all right, how can we capitalize on AI? Like, how can we be at the forefront of it? And ideally, my vision and my goal was to always be like the #1 guy in like the dropshipping e-commerce space. Like, when I wanted people to think about e-commerce, I wanted them to think about a product of mine. And that kind of just led us to sitting one day and we searched up aistorebuilder.com and it was available. We just went ahead, bought it, and at the time we were working with some developers on the store builder already. So we had already like kind of tested it out before we fully branded it into AI store builder into what it is today. But I was like, this is super cool. The fact that someone can jump on this software, click a few buttons, and they have a full dropshipping store built, products added, supply connected. I wish this type of stuff existed back in the days. And, that whole concept, I'm like, all right, we can take this bigger. We can go even broader with this. We can keep developing the product, making it better, partnerships. And that's when I was like, all right, we're going all in on this.
So when you were first like looking into that AI store builder, but bought the domain, obviously didn't think on it too much, just saw the opportunity.
Yeah.
How do you then actually get to work in building it? Because I think that's the thing that maybe most people don't understand. A lot of people are utilizing maybe ChatGPT or Claude, and we kind of spoke about this earlier, but how do you go from just like almost surface level using these platforms to then finding a way to build Shopify stores with help from AI? Because that's quite a big step from how most people tend to leverage these platforms, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more work than people like see it as. And I think that's why a lot of people don't get into SaaS, into tech, because it is very costly, and to find great developers and great talent, it is very, very difficult. But luckily, I built such an extensive network over the last 4 to 5 years. I've been in a very good spot where I have a network or a connect for like honestly anything in the business space to like the biggest guys that people can think of that I'm on calls with and I'm texting back and forth with. So when it came to like this product, I was like, all right, how do I tap into everyone that I know and start to see like how I can further progress this? And then through one person, I found developers, which, you know, are some of the best developers in the world that came in and like helped us out with it. So, you know, without that team and without who we have right now, it's like, it wouldn't have been possible. So yeah. And then that's how we came in, because you can use AI and SaaS on a surface level, like using wrappers and like, as in like AI wrappers of like ChatGPT and Claude and stuff. But to actually go in and to get APIs from like Shopify, from Wix and all this stuff, that's like a lot of work. Like you can't just, you know, go in and try to build out a store builder.
Yeah, for sure. But I suppose once you have got past that point, that initial friction, I guess it's, well, not all up from there. I know there's a lot of work that goes into it, but I think that's probably why it's always commendable when someone does make a successful like SaaS business, or do something similar to yourself and build like something that hasn't essentially been done before, at least to the best of my knowledge, because you're doing something for the first time. You know, it's not like, you know, launching a dropshipping store on its own where hundreds or even thousands of people have done it before you and there's almost like a blueprint to follow. You're like, no, we want to build an AI store builder. I don't know that there's anyone else out there that's done it, but we're going to do it. And, you know, I have to say, like, congrats, bro. I mean, it's probably been a busy couple of years in development and getting this to where it is today. Yeah,
for sure has been. And, you know, that's exactly it. It's just like, there's no blueprint for how to like really succeed with like the AI side and then all this stuff. It's so new. Whereas with a lot of other business models, you know, you got that blueprint, you know exactly what you need to do. You can kind of predict a couple of things, but with this sector that we're in now, it's like, it's a bit unknown, but I love that. The one thing that I like really like push myself on is doing things that other people would look at and be like, damn, this is tough. Like I like when it's hard and it's challenging and it's complex, because I know how many people will give up in the process, and like myself and my team, we won't. And then we'll be able to like reap those benefits and those rewards. And yeah, that's such a powerful way to like kind of, I've seen a lot of things, and that's how it's allowed us to get to like where we are today. Yeah, I often try and do the same. I say try because there are times where you hit a bit of friction and it's that initial like, another thing we need to go over, like how we're going to do this. But then you always find a way, right? There's always a path through and you always get there. And I think I've changed my way of thinking now over the past couple of years, that when I do see friction, I see it as opportunity. Okay, how many people would get here and stop? Like, and getting past that is just almost like another leg up. It's like another step on the ladder, you know? Okay, one more step in the right direction. Whereas people that are maybe competing against you or trying to do the same thing, they've got to get through all of them steps and all that friction as well. And not everyone can do it. And that's why, you know, I say it's commendable when you're innovating and building something new, because you're essentially front running, or you're the path to that. So I guess it allows you to be creative in many senses and build a team around you that you can kind of leverage all of their strengths and do something new. And I'd imagine it's probably exciting for them as well, you know, like building, innovating, because I think a lot of the time that's what people want to do. Not everyone, but like doing something new, doing something exciting. And yeah, I think AI has definitely created a lot of opportunity for people to do that. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, the team's like so excited about things. Like they're pushing forward very, very heavily. And you know, it's just like, it's exciting because it's just like all these new things constantly popping up, and it's like, all right, how do we integrate this? How do we work on this and that? And it's like, it's a really like exciting next couple of years as well. And it's also like, where is it going to go towards? Like, what's going to happen? Yeah. You know, like, you know, I've been watching a lot of the open AI, like seminars that they've been doing, like, and they're just launching things left, right, and center. I'm like, damn, this is getting exciting. Yeah, I guess I'd love to touch on that just briefly, and then also take a step back as well on how you kind of transition from, you know, helping people and students with your course and then opening the AI store builder. But with regards to your comment there of like all these new things being introduced all the time, how do you avoid too much like shiny object syndrome? How do you stay focused on what you're building without kind of pivoting? Is it just always reminding yourself of like the one core thing that you're working towards and just removing any noise? Or like, how do you know what things to put time and energy into? Yeah, it's a good question, because people do get carried away with this so often. And they jump from space to space, industry to industry, and essentially when you do that, you're just resetting your time clock. Like you're just starting from scratch. Like I've been in e-commerce now for a very, very long time. I think it's been like 8 years now or something. And, me having spent all this time on here, and sure, like I've done some other side things where I've like built skills and learned stuff, but I've always brought it back to e-commerce because one, it's like, it's a growing industry. E-commerce isn't going anywhere. And, if I was to like really focus, like even with the AI stuff, it's like, how do I use AI to boost e-commerce up? It's not even like, how do I leave e-commerce and go straight to AI? It's like, how do I bring it together, like merge it together? So I think people need to, stay in that one industry and then see like the opportunities like AI. And it's like, how can I use AI to make my business even better and even faster and progress it even more?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think it's also been quite similar for me in that sense. I've always just stayed within ecom one way or another, whether I'm building stores or agencies and doing service delivery or coaching, it's always been surrounding ecom. Or even like we said about the podcast, like it's all just ecom related and just kind of naturally happens. But it's funny because people say to me like, oh, you've got the podcast, you've got, when I was doing agency, you're building your own stores. Like, is it not like all just conflicting and doing too much? But I'm like, I just see it all as one big ecom umbrella. Like I kind of see the overlap in all of them. Maybe you could argue like if you just narrowly did one specific thing, you would be further ahead, but I get joy out of all of them. So, but talking about, I guess you being in not dropshipping, but ecom specifically for 8 years or 7 years, I suppose you would have been, did you say it's 25 now? So 17, 18 when you first got into ecom?
Yeah, I started selling online when I was 12, like on eBay, like buying, reselling at that point. And then at 16 was when I started the first Shopify store. And then I'd say at age like 17, 18 was when I like took it serious because I was like, all right, I can actually do it. When I was 16 and stuff, it was like to make a bit of side money. I didn't really think like I could build a business. I was like, I thought, you need to be 30 years old. You need to have staff and all this stuff to be running a business. And you need hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I'm not at that point. And then when I was 17, I came across a lot of like young guys making money, that didn't go to college, that didn't do all that stuff, and I was like, all right, it's possible. And that's when I was like, all right, let's just go all in.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is just seeing what's possible. And we all get there at a different stage or a different time, and I think that's why Dubai has been such a blessing for me to have been here the past couple of years, because you're just constantly reminded all the time by people or even material objects or things that you see like what is actually possible. And I think you don't always see that when you're in an environment where there's not always that much opportunity that presents itself. So the thing you're limited to is like what you see online. And even then, because you've not seen it physically, you don't always quite know whether it's possible or not. And I think that's why people are led to still think you need a lot of upfront investment, or you need to be older, or you need a certain skill set to be able to even try or do something. But every day you meet people out here in Dubai who are doing something you like, it's in some way where you're just like, you've made that sound so simple, like based on how you're doing it and how much money you're making. I think once you start to see it over and over again, you start to believe what is actually possible. And I think that for most people is the trigger point, like the starting point. Would you say it's similar for you when you were 18 and just kind of getting started? You saw with the people around you, like, okay, this is actually possible. I know I can do this. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I had like a very good group of friends around me that were all like in the online space, crushing it. And, my goal was like 10K a month. And then, me and my friend, we used to work from like hotel lobbies, like luxurious, nice. We see the nice cars come in and, we're just sitting there and like he like refreshed his Stripe dashboard and it was like $84,000 or $83,000 for the month. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. It's like, damn. It's like, this is crazy. And then that just unlocked a whole different like layer of thinking for me, and that's just what's kept on happening. Like I don't think people really realize how rich some people really are and how big you can really take things. And I was just the other week, I was in Lake Powell. A lot of people don't know like where this place is, but it's like a hub for like billionaires. Like, to get there, I got picked up in like a helicopter straight to the boat. And one of the guys that I was hanging out with, in the basement of his house, he has a full-size basketball court, and the floorboards of that basketball court is the last game where Kobe and Shaq played together. So, I'm sitting there and I'm like, how do you even think about that? What level of money are you sitting on to be like, all right, like I need those floorboards from that NBA game. God knows how much that costs, but it just keeps happening. Like even when I was 19 and then 20, then 21, came out to Dubai, and then, going to the US and sitting down with Patrick Bet-David, Grant Cardone, and then you just constantly see more and more what's possible and what's achievable. And that's why I tell people to get out of their bubble of their hometown. Like go to the rich neighborhoods, even in your city, and you realize that a lot of people make a lot, but they're just no different. Like they just spotted opportunities, they just went head in, and they just believed it was possible. They're a bit delusional about it, which is fine. Like you need to be delusional about it. Like if people aren't calling you crazy, then you're not thinking big enough. And they made it work, they made it happen. So yeah, that's how it's been for me. Every time I've progressed, I've come across someone and I've met someone where they showed me, hey, it is possible to do that.
Yeah, it's been the exact same for me, although it just happened a little later. I wish I saw someone's Stripe dashboard at 18 to show 84K. I think I would have not done all of the different work that I did prior to getting into Ecom. And I think that's also really important, like how it can shape your future, It sounds like you were pretty good at kind of positioning yourself in the right places, going to the expensive hotel lobbies. I don't think many 18-year-olds think like that. So, I think there are many things that you've done that have probably helped propel your journey, and you've taken initiative, maybe more so without even realizing. I don't know. Or maybe you were thinking about that at 18. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was like, I remember when I was like 15, 16 years old, and I had a friend of mine, her older brother was like number one like tennis player in the country. He's like ranked like number 15 in the world. And so I got to see a bit of like the rich lifestyle through her. And obviously my neighborhood is like middle class, lower to like, it's around middle class. And just seeing like the difference in lifestyle, the way people are thinking. I also remember like speaking to a lot of people when I was like 16, and, like family, friends of mine, or like, I'd go to like a house party and I'd see like these older guys, and they're just like, man, you don't want to grow up. Like, it's not good. And I'm just like, what are you on about? Like, it does, why does it have to be like that? And then I saw a pattern where everyone that followed the traditional route were just not happy, living paycheck to paycheck. And I was like, okay, so now I'm like looking at the next couple of moves that I need to make at the age of 16, 17. And I'm like, all right, the traditional route isn't going to help me. So I'm not going to focus on school at all because the information's useless. I was having fights with my teachers back and forth. And I'm like, all right, I need to go down this different path. I need to start an online business. I need to figure a different route to make money. I cannot see it as hour to hour. Like, what value can I provide and how much can I get paid in return?
Yeah.
And I remember being like 18. I remember when I was 17 years old, I closed a real estate company. I had an agency as well. Like, I started a lot of different things. And I remember walking in, and they didn't ask how old I was, what experience I had, none of that. Like, I showed them how I can get them more leads through Facebook ads for their real estate company. Showed them the value that I could provide. I remember having a contractor under me at that time too that like knew how to like run it, but I just showed him it all, and boom, like he paid the invoice of $5,000. And it's like at that point I'm like, all right, like this is all in.
Running an e-commerce business means facing challenges like shipping delays, high cost of goods, and even payment processor holds. But what if you could simplify your logistics and increase your profit margins? That's where Commercive comes in, our sponsor today. Whether you dropship from China or you're using a USA 3PL, Commercive are confident that they can help you save on costs. With WhatsApp support and a straightforward, easy setup, Commercive ensures that your operations run smoothly. Having served over 3,000 e-commerce sellers, Commercive has gained a reputation for reliable fulfillment, serving the likes of Andrew Tate, who uses Commercive to fulfill his top G merch. Click the link in the video description or visit commercive.co to learn more and get your free quote today. So many people never experienced that, So many people are still unfortunately either stuck doing something they dislike or trading their
people
time.
just don't think. I think that's the biggest problem that we have in society right now is we're constantly stimulated by dopamine nonstop, like our phone, watching TV, talking to someone. Like people don't really just sit back there with no phone, nothing, and just think like, is what I'm doing good? Is the information that I'm consuming, is that helping me out? And that's where the problem like happens. And people like never think for themselves. They just see what they see, they take it as it is, and then they run with it. And it's like, that's what I did a lot. Like I sat there and I was thinking quite a lot. I was like trying to figure out what's the right play to make. And when you do that, you start to realize things.
Yeah. Well, we live in a world with just so many distractions on so many different levels. You can't even escape it because your phone might vibrate or this. Like religiously, I will have my phone on silent, not even vibrate, but like behind my desk so I can't even see it when I'm working, quiet room. Like there are many things I've done to kind of be able to just focus. And even then, that's not the same as like actually dedicating time to thinking, like what you're saying. But unfortunately, so many people, you're right, just don't think. And actually, I've noticed like a common trend among people like yourself that I've spoken to on the podcast, where a lot of the time they'll just make actual time to think and actually analyze like top level, how's everything going? Like, is this thing that I'm focusing on actually contributing to the wider goal? Or a bit like what we said earlier, is it like shiny object syndrome where, all these different things are coming at me? Because if you're just indulging in all this information, if you're on Twitter listening to this new AI software, if you're looking at OpenAI, if all these things are coming at you, you're going to want to do everything or look into everything, but that's not always the right thing to do, because then you just, like you say, become a consumer and you're not aware of how this information is affecting your decision making going forward. Normally, if I'm working towards something, I'll actually remove any outside influence, because otherwise I think it starts making me not doubt what I'm working towards, but people offer their opinion and I don't always want it, or they'll shed something in and make you look at something else in a different way. And I think, no, I'm going to stick to the plan. Like this made logical sense to me in my mind when I sat down and thought about it, and I'm going to see it through. And then when I get there to the next point, then I'm going to analyze, and if I need to, look for outside influence. But a lot of the time I don't want it. It should be selective, I think.
Because it's your vision, it's your dream at the end of the day, and you're the only one that can see through the different layers. And a lot of the people that you'll tell don't see that vision. They just see that first layer. Yeah. And then they just make their like input on it. And you always see it with like great companies, like even before like ChatGPT like started, Sam Altman said that he's working on OpenAI, and like people were responding back saying that's like the worst idea they've ever heard, and look at where it's going at now. Even down to Uber, when it first started, people were like, how is this even going to happen or work? But they see it at that first layer of level. They don't see the vision and see the 10-year, 15-year goal on it. So yeah, that's why like even myself, like I will only tell someone what I'm doing that I can genuinely believe will help me get there. And then you can consult with certain people that are actually very, very smart, that really want the best, and like will sit down and look at your game plan. But for a lot of people, they won't sit down and look at the game plan. They just think like, hear your idea, and they'd be like, oh, well, nah, like this won't work or that won't work. And it's just like, then you ruin your own mindset. That's why a lot of people struggle right now to like get things going, because everyone's in such a negative mindset these days. Like majority of society is, especially, and people start a business and they just immediately hit with like 10, 12 people telling them how it's the worst idea, how it's never going to work. And then and in the game of life that we live in, mindset is everything. And the moment it gets infiltrated a little bit, it can really ruin you. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you know a lot of people, you've worked with a lot of students and clients in the past. And one thing I always get everyone to reiterate when they first start working with me is why they want to do it. Like, what are you working towards? What's the desired outcome that we're working towards? Because I always think when you're very clear on your vision why, and you can eliminate as much outside influence as possible and just forget everything you think you know, but focus on like what it is that you're working towards and how you're going to get there. That's, in my opinion, one of the most powerful things. And maybe we can touch on that, because you initially but you had a course, a program that was teaching people how to get into e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you noticed that a lot of people hit a little bit of friction when it came to building the website, sourcing the products. And is that where the initial idea for the store builder came from? Or
yeah, I'll tell like the audience now, like this is massive, but it's how I've been able to do 7 figures in almost any industry. Like I've done $1 million with physical products, digital products, affiliate, software, like with everything. And one of the biggest things that I always focus on is like, how do I be the best in what I'm doing, and how do I just give so much value, and how do I make the offer so good that it's just at this point people are looking and they're like, all right, like I need this. Same goes with the course. When we first started the course, everyone was just selling an ecom course, but we were selling a course. We would actually build the store out for them manually because we didn't have AI back then. Give them the weekly calls, do all this stuff, and then slowly as time goes on, it's just like, how do we keep improving it? How do we make it faster? How do we make it better for the people? And then now with AI Store Builder, with what we built, now the AI does it for them super fast. Now they get my course for free. Like we don't even charge for the course. They get weekly calls for free. But like people go through it, they're like, what's the catch? And I'm like, there is literally no catch. We don't just get you in the course and we're like, oh, he's pay us another $5,000-$10,000 for something better or for like one-on-one. Like, no, we don't. Like, we have partnerships with billion-dollar companies. I sit down with the founders and we've come together, and it's how we're able to just do all this stuff. And once again, that is why we're the #1 store builder in the world, is because of how much value that we're able to give on the front, and how much we care for the students to actually do well. Like we don't just care about the product. It's like, all right, what do they need? We have partnerships with TikTok, with Snapchat, with like all these companies that have come together that people need. And it's like, we're giving them the absolute best. So that's why we've, come in, and that's absolutely crushing it, and people are loving it.
I guess when you say a lot of these big brands, partnerships with, you said TikTok, Snapchat, I think we have a mutual as well, Omnisend, you're in partnership as well, right?
Yeah, and it's like I sat down with the founder the other week in San Diego, and, we come together, we put them integrated within AI Store Builder, and that's like the super cool thing now. It's like sitting down with these founders, and it's like, all right, like we've got our great company, you guys got a great company, like we can make something happen, we can make something work. And we formed a partnership with Omnisend. We did a billboard with Fiverr, AutoDS, valued at 800 million. We did a massive partnership with them, integrated them in, and then now with Wix, which is $10 billion plus company.
Yeah, big moves.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's another big thing about thinking big and going as massive as possible, is that everyone limits themselves so much with things. And, I've done the same. There's times where I won't think as big as I should be. And, with AI Store, we're like, all right, like we're coming in, we're going to secure all the partnerships, we're going to build a great product, we're going to have everyone coming through this, and then it just happens in fruition. And through the work, through everything, it all just makes sense.
And how do you keep thinking big? Is it just always analyzing things, reflecting and thinking, or how do you keep reminding yourself to think big? Because I think there's so many different moving pieces in business, whether you're selling physical products, digital products, whether you're building a SaaS or a service, there's always so many different pieces or moving pieces. Sometimes I think it can take you away from the bigger picture. And I guess that's where it's important as a founder or an innovator to really be respectful of your time so that you have the time to think. But how do you personally always keep thinking big and keep going bigger?
Yeah, I think it's just who you surround yourself with. I always just try to get myself into rooms, into tables with people that are just really, really ahead of me. Sitting down with Russell Brunson, Todd Dickerson, these guys are the co-founders of ClickFunnels, and conversating with them, and then sitting down with Steve, who owns a 9-figure company, then Omnisend, it's a 9-figure company. So it's like being around these people and sitting down with them and conversating with them. That's how it just allowed me to just think really, really big.
Yeah.
Because I have great friends all around the world, but over time, you just need to constantly be having that that circle that's a lot ahead of you, because then you'll be like, all right, that's possible, this is possible, then they'll help you out with certain things, consulting. Like, we have these great founders coming in consulting us on how we can improve our product and how we can go even bigger, because it does benefit them, but they're also just like great friends of mine as well at the same time, and they're just doing that, and the value goes back and forth. But yeah, it's having that circle that's always ahead. It's so important. That's how you keep thinking big.
2 questions. How do you get yourself in a position where you get into those sort of rooms? And I think the answer you're going to give is probably going to be much more straightforward than most people would think. And then how do you maintain so many relationships long term? Because that's something I also find difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I have a very good way of like building a relationship and networking. I think that's a very strong suit of mine. And first, like I just try to become so valuable myself. Like with the products that we're doing, the companies that we're doing, my skill sets and what I can do and all that stuff. Like I try to really become super valuable so that if someone needs something, or if someone's going through something in business or whatever, I'm like able to provide some form of value. Second, I think with these relationships too, it's like obviously the valuable part comes first, but the second, it's like it's just genuinely getting to know the other person. Like when I go into even these events, or even when I talk to a lot of these like billionaires and stuff, it's like I don't even talk about business first. Like I'm talking about other things. Like I'm talking about life. I'm talking about stories, having a drink with them and like genuinely wanting to get to know the person. Then it's like the business will come after. But a lot of people go into these relationships and it's like they think about it so transactional, and like I can tell from a mile away if like someone's just there transactional, and it's like fine, it's like people want to do business. It's they want to make money. It's great, but you'll never develop that deeper relationship with that person. You'll never get that invite to their house. Like I said, like I was with Steve, like invited me over to Lake Powell to his house and like had a houseboat, like, all that stuff. And it's just like, because, when I'm conversating with these guys, I'm like, all right, we can help each other out. But I'm like, what cigars do you smoke? What what I mean? We're talking about certain stuff that goes a lot deeper, and you develop that connection with them, and they almost feel like you don't need anything from them. And it's just, that's how you develop that relationship and you develop that personal connection with them on a deeper level.
Yeah, I think you said something earlier that I resonate with, and that's that a lot of the time when you speak to a lot of these people, you realize we're all just the same. And sure, business is great. It's great to talk about business, and we all feel fulfilled doing it. But also relationships are important, and actually having good people around you that you can conversate with about things that aren't always just related about work. Like sometimes, you don't actually want to talk about work. You just want to shut off, unwind, have a nice cigar and chill, And so I think it is important to have that balance. I guess when I said about like maintaining the relationships though, I just meant like time-wise. How do you find the time to maintain so many different relationships? Like I've probably met like quite a lot of really good people through the podcast, and there's maybe a handful that I keep in touch with regularly, like we chat, but I would love to try and keep in touch with everyone. But it's just like time passes so quick, and before you know it, like 6 months has gone by and you haven't even spoke to someone. I feel that for sure. I mean, that's completely normal. Like we all only have so many hours in a day and only so much time, but and it does get hard. I literally saw one of my friends the other week in LA, and I hadn't seen him for like a year and a half. Look, obviously we've spoken like bits and pieces here and there, but I think like you have your core people that like it's not to like cut off anyone. Like I wouldn't say like you just drop certain people off, but it's just like who's like really valuable, like who's a great friend in the circle that is also elevating and progressing with you. And it's like those are the people that I feel like I always have a very strong relationship with, and like I maintain that with. But like some people that stay stuck at surface level, it's hard to like keep in touch with them or keep in connect with them because it's like you're progressing so much, but they're still at that level. So it's like, for me, it's just like, if the relationship is important enough, like you'll just find a way to like keep that maintained.
Whereas sometimes if like, let's say for example, you haven't conversated with someone in a while, then maybe there's something not there or something not happening. I don't know, but it also is difficult because we only have so much time in a day. Like you want to go hang out with your missus, right? You want to go spend some time with her. Then you got the business that you need to take care of. Then you have family, and then you've got like there's a lot of moving parts, especially as for our lives. There's always something happening and going on. Like, you know, I sit down with friends and they're like, we'd never know what city you're in. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like,
me neither.
yeah. And I'm like the exact same. Like, I don't know where I'm at sometimes, but one thing that I have done is like on WhatsApp, for example, I will like sit there for like sometimes 45 minutes, an hour, and I'll go through all unread. Like there's like a button like unread, and I'll hit up like everyone, or I'll reply to everyone in that moment too. And even just have small conversations, and obviously with the traveling helps quite a bit too, because like I'll always meet friends in that city. Like I'll go out for a dinner, or I get them to come out. I think another great thing to do is with maintaining relationships is to invite them to places that you're already going to go. So for example, I'll have my friends come play tennis with me, or I'll have them come to like the cigar lounge with me, or I'll be like, hey, I'm going here, like come through. Like even last night, for example, we were at Trove, like in the Dubai Mall, and with a few friends, and then, you know, I just texted like 5 or 6 other people, and I'm like, hey, I'm here, come now. And then, you know, 4 or 5 boys came, and we all just hung out that I hadn't seen for a while. So that's also like the little things that I'll do as well.
I had a similar moment just yesterday, actually. Seems to be like loads of people arriving in Dubai like the past week or two. I guess everyone's coming here for winter, and similar thing, like I'm trying to arrange to meet all of these people individually. I'm like, actually you'd all get on with each other, like you're all good people. So I'm like, let's just all meet on Saturday and go for cigars. And I'm trying to just arrange it at the moment, because I thought, I know everyone's going to get on, they're all good people, and it just makes it easier. It's a good time as well. Everyone wants to meet other people, so what's more realistic, me trying to like find time to meet 5 different people in the next 2 weeks, or just get everyone together? So yeah, I think I'm going to try and do more of that. I think what you've said there is a good point, because there's a lot of times I'll be somewhere with one person, and I know there's like a load of other people that would want to join and should join, but it's just taking that initiative to message them. So yeah, if there's one thing I've taken from that, it's probably just to be the person that brings people together as well. And I'm sure, I know I always appreciate when I get an invite somewhere, you know, it's like, oh, okay, you thought of me, so I need to do it more myself.
Yeah, and it's like, that's just, it's such a good thing. Like one thing I learned, I'm like, yeah, it's just like, let's just bring them to like where you're going. Like even some of the boys in my like, you know, a few of the guys that lived in my building as well, I'm like, let's all run a sauna session. You know, in there 45 minutes, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're doing what we need to do, we go to the gym, or we take a trip somewhere. Like we need to all be in the same spot at the same time. Like let's all get together, let's have some fun. Like it's good.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, we've touched on quite a few interesting topics there, like mindset, staying focused, the drive behind building the store builder, networking, maintaining relationships. Maybe we could talk specifically a little bit on like AI outside of just the store builder. Maybe there's some things that you see happening in e-commerce that people would find useful, that they could maybe implement in their businesses, or new things that you see innovating at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest things that we're seeing is like the whole like AI, you see creators like, which is super cool. You know, even with Canva now, they've got the AI feature. I think what's happening now, and I feel like everyone that's kind of watching this, that's wanting to go into the e-commerce sector, it's like work with like ChatGPT, work with Claude, work with Gemini, and figure out how you can just speed up what you're doing. The people that win at the end of the day are the ones that are more aggressive, the ones that can do more output. So it's like use AI to like increase your output. Like people don't even know this, but it's just like, you know, CapCut now has the AI feature, right? Like where you can make videos faster. You've got the AI creators now where you can push creatives a lot faster, like rather than waiting for editors. Now you can use GPT where you can upload 1,000 winning creatives and work with it to give you better hooks, you know, better storyline, better CTA. So that's what I'm getting even our people inside of our like community of AI store builder, because it's like they're ecom guys at the end of the day, getting them to like really obsess over AI to like fast track things and speed things up for them.
I think there's going to come a point where it's just going to be undeniable, or maybe we're kind of already getting to that point now. But like you said, like speed and aggression is really important when it comes to business and testing and seeing what's working. You know, like you said before, you were manually building all of the Shopify stores before. So it's like putting in time and energy into building it, changing this. And also a lot of the time when you're building something manually, if there's more than one person building it, unless there's like a very strict SOP, you're going to get inconsistencies as well. Yeah. So at least like there's so many things that AI can fix and so many different ways you can leverage it. And I guess even if something isn't like fully automatable, it's just thinking about how you can make that process more efficient with help from AI and get things done quicker.
And, you know, we are in pretty scary times where like AI will take over a lot of people. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. And me being in like the AI sector and talking to all these people and being so deep in the industry, it is quite scary for people that aren't tapped into it to the extent they should be. And right now it's super early still. Like, yeah, they're launching like AI stuff faster than ever before, but it's a very good time to like learn the ins and outs of it and figuring out how to use AI to like just better your business, or using AI to build a business like around the whole AI sector. Maybe you have an agency now, like how do you implement AI towards the entire agency? You have, you know, some of these guys are like that I speak to and they're like, yeah, like we'll get around to maybe implementing AI in some of our stuff. And I'm like, man, you need to be doing that now. Like it only helps you out. Like that's what it is. And then and the companies that are ignorant about it, it's going to be the exact same thing that happened when companies didn't take e-commerce seriously and setting up an online store. What happened? They all went bankrupt. They had to shut their business down. And this is the exact same thing that we'll see with this AI sector now as well. It's like if you're not on the forefront of it, it'll just eat you up.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are almost selling AI services to like more local and traditional businesses now, which are the ones that I guess a lot of the time do seem to be forgotten about. But I think it's quite interesting because so many people have transitioned into like the online space, like you see a lot of teenagers or even people in their early 20s coming through and like focusing on online based businesses, which is, you know, great to see. I don't blame them. Like there's so much opportunity there, but it almost seems like the traditional businesses have kind of been forgotten about. And I feel like there's going to be a huge opportunity opening up there as well of like younger people who are innovative coming in and kind of taking over those more traditional industries as well, or at least businesses.
Yeah, that's, you know, I was actually having a conversation about this with some of the guys in Arizona. Like in Arizona, I was with like a lot of like these billionaires and they all own traditional businesses. None of them there was like none of them were in the online space, like except like two of them, but majority of them all traditional businesses. And it is a sector that has been forgotten. And even these traditional businesses that are doing, and they've been around for like forever, and they will be around for like a very long time because a lot of the traditional stuff never goes away. But they haven't innovated to what they should have because everyone is jumping on the online money space and the online business space. But yeah, I feel like, you know, some of these guys were just able to just be like, hey, like let's go to the traditional business route and use the AI knowledge and the online business knowledge and the social media stuff and like help the traditional businesses out. They could probably go a lot further, honestly, and make a lot more. But yeah, a lot of people I think people just love the online business lifestyle.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that come with it. You know, the ability to be remote in some senses, which is possible with more traditional businesses, but a lot of them still require, at least the ones I'm thinking of, like more so of a physical presence or maybe a bit more cash flow initially to purchase buildings and staff and teams. A bit like what you were talking about earlier when you said at 17 and first getting into like online stuff, you thought you'd need cash up front, team members. You know, I think a lot of the traditional businesses do require a lot of that. Plus the margins tend to be tighter because of that, all of the overheads. So it's gets less appealing. But for someone that can maybe understand business economics and they can look at the fundamentals and they can see how all of these things could be more efficient or things could be improved or automated and systemized, you could probably completely revamp like a business like that and make it excel, I think.
Yeah, and you can make probably even more profitable by like replacing certain overheads that don't even need to be there. like a lot of these like traditional businesses, like these physical like businesses, they run so poorly. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He came into X and he fired like 60-70% of the staff, and it's running better than ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine how many businesses are out there that have staff that aren't performing, aren't doing the best, and they can get replaced with either AI or just better team members.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem a lot of the time is people fall into the trap of just doing things the way that they are because that's how they're being done.
Yeah.
Which is very different with what you're doing, something like the store builder, where you're, like I said earlier, you're innovating. So you're constantly thinking of new ways to do new things. But I think so many people are stuck in that traditional way of thinking of like, what is the saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it, which I agree to in some senses, but there is also a time where you should be making things more efficient, automate them more, systemize them, you know? And I just think so many people are stuck in that mindset. You know, one thing we kind of keep coming back to in this conversation, I guess, is just like mindset and how you look at things. You know, and I always say, I think perspective is really important. I think most people either lack perspective or they just, I don't know, haven't been able to put themselves in a situation where they see things differently. You know, like for you, it started in that hotel lobby, seeing that screenshot of the high amount of revenue, then talking to people who are older who say they don't don't want to get older, don't get older, this kind of stuff. I think perspective is really important to just show you like what is possible, and then you can always relate that back to business as well, innovating, changing, and improving. But I think a common theme just seems to be that so many people just don't think that way. One of the biggest revenue shifts I had in e-commerce was when I realized that not everything needs to be constantly tested, tweaked, and optimized, although I know it's tempting. But some things like OmniSend email and SMS automation, you build once and they just keep converting in the background. And you only really need 3 automated flows to start seeing results: a welcome series, cart abandonment, and browse abandonment. That's it. You set them up once, personalize them to your customer, and they'll just keep converting visitors into sales. Even though automated emails make up just 2% of total email marketing sends, they actually drive 37% of total email revenue. And 1 in 3 people who click an automated email actually go on to buy. On average, OmniSend users see $68 back for every dollar spent. And when your back end is dialed in like that, your ads become way more profitable. It plugs straight into Shopify, takes minutes to set up, and comes complete with award-winning 24/7 customer support, as well as free migration for those that need it. Just hit the link in the video description and start turning your traffic into real profit with OmniSend. And if you're ready to get started, you can use discount code THEO30 to get 30% off for your first 3 months.
In all aspects of life, like health, wealth, relationships, it just all works the exact same. It's like, how do you always make it as good as possible? And how do you make it easy for yourself? Like, there's so many people just make it so hard for themselves to win. Like, oh, I can't do this. It's too hard to do that. And it's just like, you keep telling yourself those words, you screw it up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you say it's hard to go to the gym, you're going to now think about how difficult it actually is to go to the gym. But if you say it's easy, to go, it's easy to go. Like, oh yeah, I just need to take literally like a 4 or 5 minute drive and I'm at the gym, and then boom, 30 minutes done. Boom, I got my workout in. Oh, like it's hard to spend time with this person. No, like, all right, boom. Yeah, you know, you do a 4-hour work session, and then now you got 4 or 5 hours, maybe run a tennis session, boom, call this person down, run it, right? So it's like, I think people make it so hard for themselves and they mess it up for themselves. Yeah. Whereas like, if you just tell yourself it's easy and it's possible and all this stuff, then it does become easy and it does become possible. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Jesse Itzler? He's the guy that owned Marquis Jets. He's from the US. He's an older guy. I think he's like in his 50s, but he talks on stage a lot. And there's a clip that came to mind because he speaks about how the words that you speak matter and like how important they are. And you just reminded me of that when you were kind of talking about people making things seem harder than they are. And I was speaking to Matt about it just the other day, and we were saying about how what we do a lot of the time in this online space is such a luxury. You don't even realize we get paid to push buttons on a screen. Oh. There are people out here working construction getting paid I don't know what, you know, and you think about what the average salary is in a lot of places. I was in Bali not long ago, and I think someone told me like the local salary there is maybe like $200 or something a month. Yeah. And you're like, you know, I mean, that to someone that's maybe been born in the West or in the online space, you're like, that's nothing, because we just have such a different perspective. And I think that's why it's really important as well to change the way that you think. And now, anytime anyone like asks me what I'm doing, I never say work. I'm like, it's literally a luxury. Like I'm just pushing buttons on my laptop. Like that's what I do all day, and I get paid like very well for it. So I think it's just changing how you think about things. And you made a good point, like realizing how blessed we are in a lot of ways, and making the most of that, because a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, like people like, oh, like Ramin, like so happy, like even during like the most stressful times of business. There's times within business and all this stuff where like if a lot of people were in that position, they would go crazy. They would be like, oh wow, like this is like tough, this is challenging, but I've just been there and I've just smiled all the way through, because I'm just like, we are truly blessed. Like, you know, I've been to Bali, those places, and even down to like what you see out here in Dubai, some of the workers, and then what you see out in, you know, some of these European countries and all this stuff. And like people really do have it tough. And it's obviously like, you know, people can get themselves out of certain circumstances, situations for sure, but some people just really have it tough. And I always sit back and I'm like, you know, I'm so blessed to be in this spot where I can wake up when I want, I can do what I want, I can take a flight when I want, I can go eat at whatever restaurant I want. And it's just like, sure, some stuff might go south in business or in life, but it's just like, that's life as it is. It's like, it's gonna happen. It's just like either you just run right through it, or like you let it eat you up. And it's just like,
it's going to happen regardless, and it's how you react to it, I guess, right? Like you can either, like you say, deal with it with a smile on your face, or you can sit there with your head in your hands. The situation is still there. You got to deal with it either way. So you may as well do it while you're smiling, right? Like I always just, and kind of comes back to what we were saying earlier about challenges and friction. If you just change your mind to think of it as an opportunity, like this is an opportunity for me to level up again, like that's where the growth happens, is when you're going through discomfort or something challenging or a new issue popping up. And I think if you can just shift your perspective, like what you're saying, to welcome that challenge and see it as an opportunity, the whole dynamic changes.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the worst things in life can sometimes be the best things for you. You know, like even down to like, I have friends that are like just gotten out of like long-term relationships, and you know, like, you know, they come talk to me, and, you know, like, I'm like, instead of like crawling up in bed, it's just like, all right, like, what did you learn from that? Like, and like, how can you use that fuel to better like your life and progress and do more, and like, you know, and now they come out of it and they're like, oh wow, like that had to happen for me to grow into this person and do this in life. And the same goes with business, and then same goes with all these other verticals in life. It's like, in the moment, you're like, all right, this is like the worst thing that's happening to me. But you look back 6 months down the line, you're like, damn, that needed to happen. So it's like now every time something difficult, challenging happens in my life, I'm like, all right, what is this trying to teach me? What am I going to learn from this? And no, this isn't the end of the world. Where like in the past, I used to think like, all right, everything's just going to crumble. It's like, no, it's like, all right, how do we get out of this? What is this trying to teach me? And that's just how you keep winning. And then also understanding like no one has everything completely figured out. Like I've sat down with billionaires that would never have to worry about money for generations. They still don't have certain things figured out. They still run into problems daily. There's still challenges. And that also now puts me at ease, where I'm like, all right, like, you know, this happened, it's fine. Like you're always going to run into things. You're always going to need to solve things. And it's just like, it's a never ending, but like you keep growing, you get better at handling it, and then you get better at, you know, maintaining it and navigating your way through.
Yeah. I think it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the journey, because if it was too plain sailing, we'd all get bored, I think.
We would. Like, you know? I tell people, I'm like, I love that it's a roller coaster, because how else would I want to live my life? What, wake up, be a robot? Like, I don't want to wake up and do the same things over and over again. No, it's like, throw me a challenge, throw me this, like, let's come after it. You got one life. Like, that's why I maximize on everything. I have as much fun as possible. I do the best I can in business, with relationships, and like I just come in with life, and I'm like, all right, how can I be the best in all verticals? How can I give my all in all? And you can do that too. I have relationships with great people. My health is great. My business is doing great. And it's just like, I'm limited with time like everyone else, but like I've managed to like hit those 3 verticals very, very well. And I just tell myself, I'm like, it can happen, I can do it, and I make it as easy as possible for myself too. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't even have time to go hit the gym. I'm like, man, like, I don't even have 30 minutes to spend on my business. I'm like, yeah, you do. I'm like, you do have the time. You just need to like make the time and structure your life in a way where it's simple.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Like, there's a saying, it's a military term, which is KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid, and that's the best way to scale. And I think, like we said earlier, there's just so much distraction, so much noise in the world. And I think sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. You might look at your calendar and see all this stuff going on, but it just comes down to time management. And then I feel like if you get your time management in check and you know the things that you're working towards and you categorize them in order of importance, like you can do it. You can find the time, but you need to make the time to be able to do it. You know, remove all of the other distractions that are wasting your time, or take that as an opportunity to hire or automate or systemize a lot of things that we've spoken about in today's podcast. But I think if it's important enough for you, you'll do it. Like you'll find a way to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's like, if you really want it, like you'll make it happen. You'll find a way. And it's just like, that's the biggest thing. Like I tell people all the time, like if you really want it, you can have it. Like there's just no way around it.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've taken from you, like most of all from this podcast, is your mindset. Like the way you look at things and everything. I think I could probably say anything and you'd be like, it's possible. You'd find a way. And that's an amazing thing, because I think maybe in the circles that you put yourself in, a lot of people probably have that mindset. And it's probably, maybe in some senses, even feels normal to you at this time. Yeah,
it's like, you know, in my team sometimes they'd be like, how do we pull this off? Like they'd be like, you know, like I'll tell them something that we want to do, and they're like, oh, like shit, like how are we gonna actually figure this out? And I'm like, no, we will figure it out. Like we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. And then boom, it happens. And then like, damn. And I'm like, just like nothing's out of reach. Yeah, it's like I don't remember the last time where like someone told me something, or like I wanted to do something and I was like, this is not possible. Like I was like, it can happen. Like I've seen too much to not believe that it's not possible or it can't happen. Like you can have everything that you want in life. You just like if you believe it's possible, it will happen. Otherwise, like if you tell yourself it's not possible, then you'll never think in the way that you need to think to make it happen. Like when we say that we are the #1 store builder in the world, it's like we'll do everything now to make that a reality. What do we need to do? How do we need to build the product? How do we need to take care of these people? Who do we need to bring on? What partnerships do we need to make happen? I just thought bigger. If I was like, all right, well, we're just another store builder in the mix, we would never think as big as we need to think. We'd never go as big as we need to go. And then I'd limit myself and my team on that. So yeah, like that's our biggest thing. Like it's just believing it's possible and just shooting as big as we can.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that costs nothing as well.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm going to reflect on my Q4 goals, and then maybe I'm going to set them a little bit bigger after this conversation.
Yeah, like like I would set them so big, man. Like just like, cause why not? So on my phone home screen, I had and this is why it's so important to like surround yourself with great people. Like the number on my home screen was $100 million. And my friend to my right at the dinner table looks at it and he looks at me and he's like, why not $1 billion? And I'm just like, yeah, like I could not give him an answer as to why not $1 billion. So it's like, that's another thing with having like those friend people around you. It's like, do they make you think big? Do they make you a better person? Do they give it to you how it is? Like, you know, my friend circle, we're all like super honest with each other. Like it's like no hard feelings. It's like we say it how it is because we really care about the other person. We want to see them win, but we also want to make sure they're thinking as big as possible. Like one of my friends was like, yeah, like I want to like live here, but I also want to live here. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get a place in both places. Like how do we make that a reality? Yeah. Like you want to live in California, you want to live in here as well, and then you want to have a place in Dubai. Like how do we make that possible? How much do you need to make? How much bigger do you need to go with the business? And then boom, like now you can have it all, and you don't have to compromise for one thing or the other.
Yeah. It almost just becomes like quite simple after a certain point, doesn't it? Like, I mean, when you know what you're working towards and you have the belief that you can get there, it almost becomes inevitable, because you're just like, well, I know it's possible. It's just a matter of doing this, and this, and then that's going to help me get to that goal. And as long as you always make sure that you're working towards the wider goal, I feel like it's inevitable. You're going to get there eventually.
Yeah. It's like, it's all literally back down to like the basics, right? It's like literally the basics. Like, how do you think as big as possible? Like, even Elon Musk, like, set your 10-year goal to 6 months. It is so true. It's like, how do you set those goals so quick? So like, yeah, you might not achieve it, but the progression and the speed that you go at is super fast.
Yeah.
And then like, same goes with any other vertical. It's like, how do you get to where you want to get to as fast as possible? And it can all happen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the one thing I'm going to reflect on a little bit after this conversation is my goals for Q4, so thank you for that. You've even this conversation has made me realize that you're right. You need to always think bigger. And I had a similar conversation around about 1 year ago. A friend of mine from the UK, his name's Amit, he was visiting, and we sat down. Similar to you, I had a phone wallpaper, which I still have, and I was talking to him about my goals and what I was working towards. And he said, you kind of like already got a lot of those things. Like, you're almost there on most of them. He's like, dream bigger. Like, dreams cost nothing. Like, just aim bigger, aim higher. And then I went home and reset my goals and made everything bigger. And sure enough, like, I got to those goals much, much quicker, even than I thought. I guess I was just thinking too small for no reason. And same as you, like, I really valued that conversation. I messaged him after. I said, I've updated my wallpaper. Like, this is what I'm working towards now. And sometimes that's all it takes, is a simple conversation from someone who encourages you to think a little bit bigger, from like 100 mil to a billion. I mean, mine definitely wasn't that. It was a lot lower than that. But hey, it's just all about those micro adjustments and aiming bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and, I'd say that like the two biggest way to like if people implement these two in life, they win. Like, it's number one, just believe anything is possible. Like, you can really achieve a lot of things that you want in life. And then second, just work smart. If you're able to work super smart, like, you can lap a lot of the competition. Like, even with me and my team, like, even myself, like, a lot of people see that I like travel quite a lot. I do have a lot of fun. I do what I want to do. And they're like, how do you keep progressing so fast in business at the exact same time? And it's like, it just comes down to working smart. Like, what can we do today that's going to move the needle forward the most? And if it's not going to give us a massive impact, like, I don't want anything to do with it. But like, who do we talk to that's the best at this? Like, how can I get into a conversation with that person, or who can we learn from? Like, that is the biggest thing, because people are like, a lot of people are doing like their monk modes, 12-hour, 14-hour grind days. And I'm just like, yeah, it's great to do that, but you're not progressing at the rate that you should be progressing at if you just sat there and like, all right, like, a couple hours of smart work can take you way longer than just sitting there for 12 hours and think that you're productive because you're behind a computer screen.
Yeah, I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into, and I myself have done the same, And I think it comes down to just focusing on the high ROI tasks, like the things that actually move the needle. And I often do that now every day before I even sit down. I'm like reviewing the things that I was going to do today. And I'm like, does that actually move the needle? Does it drive more revenue? Does it do that? Like, and if it doesn't, then it just gets pushed back or passed over to someone else. I think someone told me about a thing, I'm not sure where I heard it, but it's called like the 4 Ds: do, defer, delegate, delete. So like, anytime that you're looking at something, a bit like what you mentioned, like, is it high ROI? Am I the only person that can actually physically do this task? If so, I'll do it. If not, like, there's someone else in the team or someone that I can outsource to, or maybe just disregard it entirely because it doesn't even align with the goal that we're working towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I think I personally just want to say thank you for the conversation that we've had, because I think we're kind of round about wrapping up for time now. I'm definitely going to take away everything that you've said and reflect on my own goals, and hopefully everyone that watched will as well. So thank you for sharing that. It's incredible to learn a bit more about your mindset, the way that you think about things. And once again, it's just another reminder to me personally to always keep thinking bigger. So yeah, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's been good.
Yeah. And where can people find you? Where are you most present? If people want to check out your store builder, if they want to find you online?
Yeah, if they want to go through the store builder, just aistorebuilder.com. Pretty simple there. And then, yeah, I'm pretty active on my Instagram. Just search up Ramin Popal and it'll come up. And yeah, that's where I share a lot of the stuff. Very active there with all my stuff there.
Yeah. I'll also drop a link to your socials and the page builder in the video description. So guys, go check out Ramin Popal. And yeah, thank you. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.